marinade, vinegar.
Yeah. See?
Yes, sir. Olive oil.
I can't eat the chicken without the vinegar anymore. Like now,
Same.
after marinating it with vinegar and cooking it is so much juicier and it's not dry anymore.
You changed the game for me.
Yeah, game
You
changer.
changed the whole chicken game.
Yep, that's it. No more fucking dry ass chicken breasts.
Those days are done.
Yeah.
I did that for too long.
Yep. And it's cheap and it doesn't add any calories, which is amazing. And you can use vinegar instead of using like an oil.
Yep.
That's what I like it for.
And Frank's the old trusty Frank's.
The buffalo one's really good too, man. You put the buffalo in there with the vinegar. Ooh.
Skull mug.
Oh yeah, I got my.
Oh yeah, Frank's buffalo. Oh, nice.
Plain black mug, plain black coffee.
You never go back.
That's right. All right. What's going on, Quinn?
Where's Quinn?
He's there. His mic's on mute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh shit! There he is.
All right. Quinn tried to join last time. He had a problem. So I just want to let everybody know that I will always let you guys in 5 minutes early. 5 minutes before whatever time I say in the email. And then we're going to start 5 minutes after that time officially. Just in case there's any stragglers. Because I know Eric said he's trying to get on whatever. So I'll wait for Eric and then we'll start basically. So today we're talking about GDAs, which is going to be really cool.
Nice. Just took my berberine and chromium before this meal.
Oh, yeah? Nice. Yeah, you're going to like this one.
All right. I don't know that much about them.
I took some ALA with this meal.
Nice.
Yep, that's with my next meal. Robin's got me alternating berberine then ALA. Is that what you do, Jaden?
Depends. I take both with my pre-workout, but
Together.
I don't even think I have Glycolog here too.
Oh,
It doesn't have ALA in it. It just has berberine, cinnamon, gymnema, and bitter melon.
Bitter melon. Never heard that one.
Okay, so I was thinking that to also talk about a little bit of insulin resistance, just kind of as a kind of like a precursor to what we're talking about.
Yep.
But I think that honestly on its own is like a whole other topic. So with insulin resistance, we're probably just going to like just talk about what it is and just only how it relates to GDAs. We're not going to talk more about insulin resistance because literally that would be like a whole fucking 30 minutes or an hour. So that one we'll do in a future episode. Awesome, guys. We got Calvin,
Hey,
Francesco. Thank you guys for joining in. It's going to be a good episode. We're going to start in 4 minutes.
I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm just getting a training client out, so I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Sure, no problem.
Can you guys see me? Can't see shit.
I can see you.
Jason, I like your cat. The cat man.
Yeah, the cat's here for the info.
Right, man. I'm a big cat guy.
It'll be one or the other usually every week. This one tends to be more annoying than the other one.
My wife wants an orange cat.
They're the best.
Orange cats.
Why are orange cats any better?
Just they're more playful. They're nicer.
Yeah.
They're just. I've never known a mean orange cat.
My favorite kind of cat is a dog.
Your sweater says otherwise.
You should see.
It's my default. It was on sale for $20. I only got it because it was cheap.
Jason, you should see Nick's cats. Nick's got a gigantic cat, and his cats are really playful and cute.
Been bulking for like
I got a ragdoll cat, 20 pounds.
Oh wow!
Yeah, He's a big, gentle giant.
I really want a Maine Coon one of these days.
Those are awesome.
When
Maine Coons. I like big cats. I'm basically Tiger King.
I had a big orange cat, and he was a fighter, man.
Oh yeah.
One time he went out and he got in a big brawl, and he came back and half his ear was gone. He didn't even like care. He was just
All
like,
outdoor cats.
he just came back home. He was like, "What's up? Where's my food?" I was like, "Oh shit, man. Like your ear's gone." I had
My
to get
other
rid of him,
cats.
You
unfortunately.
got into your friend stash.
Yeah, yeah.
My other cat's a big cat. I don't know. He probably has a mix of a bunch of stuff. He's a street cat from Buffalo, so he's got a little feral in him. But he's a good boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is one right here. Half Maine Coon.
That's cute. All right. One more minute here. I'm just going to.
Am I the only one not wearing pants right now, or is that like a whole group thing?
I'm not wearing.
Legality issues. I'm at work. I thought so, and then I got 2 cameras overlooking me. So I was like, yeah, maybe not.
Not today. All right, guys. I will leave this open here, and if anybody else joins, I think it's just Eric that might join. If he joins, I'll hopefully try to glance over and let him in. But anyways, let's get started here. So we're talking about glucose disposal agents. So first thing is insulin resistance. Does anybody want to tell me what insulin resistance is exactly? If not, then insulin resistance is basically just when your muscles, your fat, and your liver do not respond well to insulin and can't use the glucose from your blood for energy anymore. So to make up for it, your pancreas makes more insulin, and over time, your blood sugar levels go up. Glucose disposal agents are basically what we would take in the supplement category to make our blood sugar levels go down. And that's the main reason why you would want to take a glucose disposal agent. The problem right off the bat is that the word disposal is not accurate. Okay, we're not taking a GDA and then that GDA goes into the backyard with a shovel and starts disposing of the glucose like a dead body. Glucose storing agent sounds more accurate because what you're trying to do is you're trying to store that blood glucose so that your blood sugar levels are not going up, they are going down and being stored where they need to be. So when taking a supplement or any performance enhancing substance, you need to first ask yourself, we all ask ourselves, what is the result that I want from taking the substance? In glucose disposal agents case, the goal for any fitness athlete would be to partition as much glucose towards storage in the muscle as glycogen instead of storage in the fat cells, right? 2 of the most effective diet drugs being growth hormone and clenbuterol or ephedrine or caffeine, they all cause insulin resistance. By limiting the muscle's use of glucose for fuel, you're not only sparing glucose for use in the brain, but you're also increasing the muscle's use of fatty acids for fuel. So you're changing the disposition of having your muscle use more carbohydrate to actually your muscle using more fat when you're insulin resistant, when you're taking things like GH, clenbuterol. So does it make sense to take GDAs on prep during an off season? Does anybody have any thoughts on this? Well, let's get into some research then. The first one and the most popular one, I think this is the best one of them all, is berberine. The usage of berberine in reducing blood glucose, according to meta-analysis, is comparable to the oral hypoglycemic drugs like metformin or some of the other ones. I don't know the other ones. But this suggests that berberine is one of the more effective supplements for blood glucose reductions. Now,
You
for any-
asking why take him in the off season?
we're gonna go over that for sure. Yeah. Did you have any thoughts on taking it in the off season versus taking it on a prep?
More so in the off season because that's when I'm taking the most carbs,
Mhm.
and my body has a harder time processing all of it. That's when I run high blood sugars or
Yeah.
higher in the off season.
Yep.
During prep, like the leaner you get too, right? The better natural. I suppose that's the thing you have. The fatter you get, the more carbs you're eating, the harder and harder it is for your body to process them. So
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so we'll talk about that a little bit more too. But yeah, 100% right. Anyways, guys, for anyone that doesn't know why a meta-analysis is important to go by, either you want to go by a meta-analysis or a Cochrane study, and basically that's just a study about studies. So you get an integrated result that way. So in other words, a researcher will review the previously published studies on that topic, and then analyzes those results and gives you kind of like a summary of all the other research on that topic. So that's
think of it as a glorified like literature review, essentially.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a summary. So
what
that's pretty.
What was the average dose for that berry?
I believe it was 500 milligrams.
Yeah, usually 500.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they did use other dosages as well, but mainly 500 milligrams was the dose that seemed to be effective. So that's pretty cool, and that's pretty crazy that a natural supplement can be found to be as effective as a pharmaceutical drug in literature over and over again. That's very impressive. So yeah, and berberine also has several other benefits, such as the ability to improve cholesterol levels, they found, reduce inflammation, and protect against oxidative damage. So sounds like there's no downside. Why isn't this stuff treated like gold and worth way more money? Does anybody have an idea why, any reason why berberine is not the best thing to take? Because it sounds like it at this point, right? The reason is because it can limit muscle hypertrophy, surprisingly, and it can interact negatively with other drugs, leading to actually major side effects. And they found that concurrent use or using this at the same time, berberine with other pharmaceutical drugs, it was bad. There was bad side effects. Either the person experienced more side effects from their pharmaceutical drug, or like new side effects appeared. So that's weird. And obviously that's not going to happen for everybody, but it's just something to take note of. Okay. And then get ready for this one, guys. Almost all the other natural GDAs, so your chromium, your everything else, had very little in terms of significant findings in human studies. And we're going to go over each ingredient, typical ingredient in summary shortly. But first, I want to go over what Mike Arnold had to say about GDAs, because I do think that his opinion is pretty accurate, and you guys can take it for what it is. Okay, so Mike Arnold on GDAs. Unfortunately, when it comes to bodybuilding, GDA's negative effects have the potential to outweigh the good. Of course, rather than having undesirable effects in an area of minimal significance, they hit us right where it hurts by blunting protein synthesis, and often in more than one way. Protein synthesis is a very energy-consuming process, so naturally it makes sense that AMPK would work to limit it, which it does by inhibiting the activity of a protein called mTOR. As a critical player in the initiation of protein synthesis, any decrease in mTOR signaling is technically a bad thing for bodybuilders. AMPK and mTOR are oppositional in nature, in the sense that when one is activated, the other is typically suppressed. That's also why you don't want to be doing cardio post-workout all the time if you're trying to only build muscle. Okay? But this does not mean that it's impossible to activate both at the same time. In fact, there are several scenarios in which this can happen, making it a regular occurrence for bodybuilders. This is possible because AMPK does not inhibit mTOR directly. Rather, it inhibits another protein that increases mTOR, So by manipulating those aspects of our physiology that interfere with this function, we can minimize AMPK's negative effect on protein synthesis while continuing to receive its benefits. So I thought that was really cool. He said it better than myself. Basically, it's like with the cardio. You can do cardio post-workout and you can still build muscle, obviously, but maybe it's taking away from your potential to build more muscle. So it could be the same thing here. Okay, so this is what the research says. Mike Arnold obviously does a lot of research himself, and I agree with him that this is in the literature, but I also agree with him that it's not the end-all be-all. Just because you take some berberine or you do post-workout cardio doesn't mean you're going to not build any muscle. It just means that maybe you're taking away 1%, 2% of your overall potential to build muscle. And so it's just something to consider if you want to get that 1 extra % of muscle building potential. Okay. So that's okay. So for off-season bodybuilders then, Nick, attempting to maximize muscle growth, you probably don't want to be loading up on them 24/7. They should, like you were saying, be used on an as-needed basis, such as with large carb-containing meals. And with Nick, we were using them because you had high blood sugar.
Yeah.
And that's why we needed them. So
Like,
what's more detrimental? Yeah. What's more detrimental, the potential side effects here of berberine or having high blood sugar? Obviously, it's a better choice to use the supplement in this case. On the other hand, pre-contest bodybuilders that are prioritizing muscle and performance over purely fat loss might benefit from utilizing them more often, especially on clean refeed days. Okay, guys, so if you are prioritizing muscle and performance over fat loss, then it can be beneficial. If you need fat loss, hold on one sec. 2 more people are coming in. If you need fat loss more than you need muscle and performance, like if you were behind on a prep and you need to get in shape really quick, maybe you shouldn't use them. But if you wanted to maximize your performance, like if you had a leg day and you had a high carb day and you wanted to help shuttle that glucose, that's when you would use it. Let's summarize some of the common ingredients. So like berberine, cinnamon, chromium, ALA, and benabalif for just the ones that I picked out. Obviously, there's a few other ones, like you were saying, like the bitter melon and stuff. You can, if you want to chime in at the end there, you can give us some info on that one. But berberine, just to summarize what I was talking about, it shows positive effects in people with type 2 diabetes through the activation of AMPK pathways, but there is barely any research on healthy non-diabetic individuals. So anything that I talk about in terms of bodybuilding benefits is purely just me and my theories, okay? And Mike Arnold's theories. Cinnamon extract. It shows inconclusive research, even in people with type 2 diabetes. According to the Cochrane review by Leach and Kumar in 2011, the literature does not show an improvement in fasting blood glucose, HbA1c, or weight when supplementing with cinnamon extract. Now, I don't know for sure if they had all the variables contained in all of these studies, but the Cochrane review basically covers all of the studies. So just in general, cinnamon is kind of one of those ingredients that it's cheap, so you could use it, like you can put it on your food, but I don't see a point in spending money on cinnamon pills. Chromium did not have any effects on healthy individuals regarding glucose tolerance, weight loss, or resistance training. However, they did find some benefits for people with diabetes. ALA, alpha-lipoic acid, showed some but non-significant benefits after 4 years of supplementation in 460 diabetics. It's proposed to aid through antioxidant effects. However, a high-quality diet can provide the necessary antioxidant effects that it gives. So again, it can give you an effect, but another thing that you don't need to spend a ton of money on it. Just, it is what it is. Benabalif extract, the research has not adequately tested its effects, but basically at this point, because there's not enough research, it's inconclusive. nothing really shows for it to be 100% effective. All right. So obviously there's other ingredients. If anybody, Jaden, Calvin, if you guys know any other ingredients that are interesting, let me know.
Just trying to like for these specific agents that you're going to be, let's say, using, or different people as they introduce them into their diets or within their supplement regime, what's the reaction time? Like, how long does it have to be within a stable blood level system for it to be, let's say, noticed as, let's say, an effect? Like I myself, I'm just starting to, let's say, play with this, if you will, or varying in my diet. I usually haven't played with many of these in the past anyways. I'm just trying to wonder, is it going to be something like very short term, very acute, very fast acting to notice results, or like impacts on blood markers?
Well, the only one that I think you'll see any kind of dramatic result at all would be berberine. And berberine does have an acute effect. And obviously, if you take it for a long enough time, then it becomes a chronic effect. But with berberine, like, you know, it's like taking metformin almost. That's the way I see it.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing about that is, like, you can take it long term, of course, but you can't expect it to continue to have its benefits if you also aren't changing like other things like cardio and diet.
Okay.
So that probably goes without saying, but I think it is important to note. But with berberine, I think, you know, just leaving the other ones out of it completely, because I don't think you'll see much of a drop in blood sugar. But if you do take berberine, you will get an acute drop in blood sugar.
Gotcha. So in Nick's case, when you guys used that specifically for his high blood sugar, how fast were those results, or did you do other strategies to go ahead and just reduce his glucose levels?
Well, Nick can answer, but yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, we threw an insulin in too, so it's tough call.
Exactly.
Mantis and berberine with 2 meals, and ALA with 2 meals.
Gotcha. Cool.
I'm still doing that, Robin. Should I still keep doing that? My blood sugar is like in the 4s now.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we can experiment with that. You can take it out and see if your blood sugar goes up.
Yeah.
Right? Because now your diet's pretty consistent. We've dropped your carbs, so I don't think it would go up. But if it did, then we would know that it's making a big difference even now. Even with the reduced carbohydrate intake, if it was bringing your blood sugar down even a couple points, then that's still good, because we do know that that's the one area for you that can be a problem, is that your blood sugar will start to creep up. And obviously we were eating a lot of carbohydrates too. And like I said, that's when it becomes the most beneficial, is when you're eating high clean carbs nonstop for like days and weeks and months.
With GH too.
With GH, yeah. And so using a combination of berberine and insulin can be a really good synergistic combination, for the fact that you can use that almost, like I said, instead of metformin, because a lot of people would like to run metformin with insulin, but I don't like metformin because it really throws off the digestive system in a lot of people. So why would you use something that might have the chance of ruining someone's stomach? Just use berberine, because I've never heard of that hurting anyone's stomach. And it's literally just as effective. So for that, I think it's a super impressive, very cool supplement. And using it, like I said, concurrently with the insulin, so you don't have to use as much insulin. So the insulin you use packs a bigger punch, so to speak. You shouldn't feel it at all. I shouldn't say packs a bigger punch, because you should never, if you're using insulin right, you actually never feel it. You never feel insulin if you're using it correctly. You only feel it if you've used too much.
Yeah.
So when we take it with Lantus, we take max like 20 IUs, right? And with something like a Humalog or a Novo Rapid, what's the max we use? Like 6?
I never used more than, before I met you, I used like 10 or 15 before, but yeah, with you, I never used more than 6.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I would never push more than 6. I think once you titrate up from 2 to 6, it's time to take a break, and then you go back down and start with 2. 2 for a week or 2, 4 for a week or 2, and then 6 for a week or 2. And that's, like, just as a general rule of thumb, a pretty safe and good way to use insulin. So you titrate up a little bit, you're still getting those benefits. You can do that for like a max 4-6 week cycle, and then back down off that insulin, take a break. And then when you start again, you don't start back at 6, you start back at 2. All right. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys. I thought I wrote more, but I realized that my font was in size 14 font. So it wasn't all that much stuff. The thing is I did summarize those studies a lot. So I can always send, if any of you guys want to see the studies, I can send them to you. I was thinking maybe what I could do is make some slides too, if you guys really are like interested in seeing the studies, but I don't know how many of you guys are interested in seeing the studies, or if you prefer me just doing it like this, where I take it and just summarize it.
So with myself, anyways, with my science background, like I prefer just to hear it auditory, like hear it from yourself. If I'm interested, I'm just going to go research it myself, right?
For sure. Yeah. So I'll just stick with this, because doing like an Excel, or sorry, like doing like a PowerPoint or something like that, it just takes a lot of extra time. So I prefer just making a Word document, just reading it. It says one person's waiting. Oh, it's Jaden. Okay.
What do the other guys think?
I don't know. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns. Let me know. But otherwise, we can open it up to Q&A and we can talk about anything. So for you guys that weren't here last week, we can talk about GDAs. We can talk about insulin. We can talk about whatever you guys want. Free reign on Q&A, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability.
What are some top fat burners?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
What are some top fat burners then?
Top fat burners? Well, I did mention GH and clenbuterol. The one that I didn't mention was T3. I think that if you have those three, those are like, you can't get anything stronger than that, really.
Okay.
There's a product called Helios. I don't know if any of you have heard of Helios, but basically it's a combination of, I believe it's 100 milligrams of caffeine. I could be wrong. It could be micrograms. It's an injectable. It's a combination of 100 milligrams of caffeine, 50 milligrams of albuterol. I believe it's 50 micrograms or something of nicotine. And I think there's one more ingredient too. And that's a really strong, really crazy fat burner. I've never used it myself, but I've seen it used. Sam was using it a lot. So yeah, it's crazy, but also very potentially addictive because of the nicotine. But it definitely has a high potential.
What's the point of the nicotine? Just like an appetite suppressant, or like
exactly? Yeah. So exactly. So it creates that high potential for long-term appetite suppressant.
Isn't that the one I used for my prep? That inject, like site injection?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a liquid injection. Hold on. Wait. Okay.
What's your take on? I was listening to a podcast with Matt Jansen last week, and he's huge on DNP, and he was trying to promote that it's like not as dangerous as people say.
That's fucking bullshit. Who was saying that? Matt Jansen? I don't know what's wrong.
Matt Jansen.
I don't know what's wrong with that guy, man. Honestly, I think he's just trying to say whatever to get like people to join up with him again, because I think they realize that he's fucking full of shit.
Anything with DNP is clickbait.
Yeah, if anybody's talking about DNP, then they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Because
I can't remember what podcast it was, but it was all about cutting drugs and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's all hype, man. It's fucking bullshit. I guarantee you, nobody that plays well at the Olympia is using DNP.
They're using hydroxycut, right?
Of course they are, yeah, for sure.
That shit kill you forever.
Best,
2000.
fucking best fat burner is just a caloric deficit, and
Don't you?
People.
Hey! There's none of that talk around here. Okay, we take DNP.
Don't you guys know all you need is Dragon Pharma Dry Up? That's all I use before the stage.
Back in the 2000s, coming from powerlifting, I've seen a lot of people. I've heard the albuterol trick, anyways, but they used to take baby aspirin.
Yeah.
They'd take, I think, 400 milligrams, I think, of caffeine. They throw in some ephedrine as well. They would take it over like the counter from the pharmacies, and they would make their own fat burners. George Lehman
instead.
Yeah, they make their own. Basically, when hydroxy started to come out, people started to come out like really like their own renditions, if you will.
ECA staff.
Yeah,
instead of just dropping pizza.
We attempted to make our own Vasoburn as well. You know Vasoburn. Nick, I know Nick.
Yeah, who drops pizza?
Yeah.
Pre-workout gummy bears.
Honestly, Vasoburn is a good fat burner, though.
I know that ECA can be dangerous, though, right?
Well, it can be dangerous.
It was on
any stimulant can be dangerous.
Well, I just know this guy that died from it. He had like a brain bleed or something.
Of
While he was
course.
taking
What? From what?
ECA
It
stack.
was
Oh, okay. I thought
yeah,
from
Robin.
the
It was on the Grow or Die podcast,
Okay.
episode 112, fat loss with Matt Jansen.
that's
Okay.
awesome.
Well,
Well
who is he used DNP with that looks good? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes you
know?
curious what Sean Clarita was on then.
Right?
Not DNP, that's for sure.
I've
no
heard
way.
it's super flat too, eh?
Yeah, I would bet money that Sean Clarita never touched DNP ever. Why would
Yeah.
he need to? Look at him. He's 177 pounds. What would he be doing with DNP? Also, anybody that knows anything about DNP knows it's very, very dangerous. So
Yeah.
even just like, and it's also just not good for you. Like it's super toxic. Like it just destroys your body from the inside out. So I don't know. I would stay away from it. But
Isn't it
Yeah,
literally
I've
burn
never
you
researched
from
it
the
because
inside?
it's never been something I've considered.
I don't know if it burns you. Like, hold on. Like,
You,
Yeah, I've heard it like literally
It does-
if
yeah.
you overdose it, it like burns you from the inside out pretty much.
yeah.
Is
I
what
don't think it
I've
burns you,
heard.
but it definitely like. Well, you mean like increase your.
It causes
core
organ
temperature.
damage.
Yeah.
Increase your core
So that's what
temperature. Yeah.
happens. So
But
I know a guy who was victim to fat burners. He
Yeah.
actually died. He used to train at my old gym back in Montreal back in like 2016. He had some mental health issues anyways, and he was all about like basically test Strand and like, as many fat burners as you can and no diet, anything like that. But like soaked up skin, he just ripped, and he had some mental health issues, and apparently he ended up killing himself with DNP.
I've heard anything good about DNP. There's never
So
been like a happy
here's
ending.
what DNP does, the mechanism of action. DNP acts as a protanophore, which means it's allowing protons to leak across the inner mitochondrial membrane and thus bypass ATP synthase. This makes ATP energy production less efficient. In effect, part of the energy that is normally produced from cellular respiration is wasted as heat. The inefficiency is proportional to the dose of DNP that is taken. As the dose increases and energy production is made more inefficient, metabolic rate increases and more fat is burned in order to compensate for the efficiency and to meet energy demands. So basically what happens is like you cannot even make ATP, which means you can't even barely train. And so anyone that sees Sean trains knows he doesn't use DNP because he wouldn't be able to train like that.
Why would
Simply,
you ever
just
want to
can't
take
make.
that?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to take that? Exactly. And so any champion knows that you have to focus on taking stuff that improves your training, not reduces your ability to train. So it makes no sense. Any other questions?
With
That was a good question, man. That was a good question.
with the other fat burners like Clan and T3, let's say you were to accidentally take too much of a dose.
You talked about Yohimbi a lot in the.
You're gonna have a fun time.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Yohimbi. Clen, I
They
do
talked
like.
about that as
I don't
well.
think Clen is super great fat burner. I think Clen is almost better as like an anti-catabolic agent because the other thing that Clen is so great for is creating a better ability to breathe because it's dilating your respiratory system. And so that's what it's for. It is a drug for asthma. So when you're doing cardio, you just feel like a beast. When you're training, you just feel like you're unstoppable, right? Compared to like now, especially when you're heavy, when you take clenbuterol like on a prep and you start doing cardio, you're just like, this is fucking amazing. You know, you're just like breathing so well and everything feels so great. So I think with that, it can be anti-catabolic because you're able to train your cardio harder as well. And like I mentioned before, when you push cardio harder, you're less likely to lose muscle. That's my opinion on it. I don't think doing a ton of low intensity is very great because you're not pushing your body. It does have its place, of course. You can't do high intensity all the time. You got to pay attention to your ability to recover. But clenbuterol, its main effect is in your ability to increase performance, not necessarily as a direct fat burner. That's my point. And with T3, that's different. That doesn't increase your performance at all. It literally just makes you burn more calories. And that can be a really great thing. It can be a really dangerous thing. But whenever I've used T3, at least a little bit, I look better than when I didn't.
It burns through muscle for me.
But it can also preserve muscle because when you're using growth hormone, you're using tren, and you're on that cycle for a long period of time. And while you're coupling that with a low calorie diet. When you're in a restricted low calorie diet, you know, your hormones change too. And so does with growth hormone and tren. And so you're reducing your ability to create more thyroid hormone because your body will adapt to the lower calories. So you're tricking your body into thinking that, well, you're not really tricking. You're using an exogenous drug to replace what it might not be producing on its own. But that's why you can use like 25 micrograms of T3 like 3 times a week, like, you know, a la John Meadows, and you can get like tremendous results, because those 3 times a week is like you're putting your body's probably not even producing 25 micrograms when you're really dieting hard. So using that 25 micrograms is just like, holy shit, now you're a fat burning furnace, right? So yeah, T3 is very powerful for fat burning. The other ones, caffeine, ephedrine, I don't necessarily think they're as great. Caffeine, I think, is more of just, you want to use it again for performance, not necessarily fat burning. Like you wouldn't be taking caffeine all day long just to try to burn fat, but you would take it before cardio, before the gym, to push a little harder. That's what it's for. Same thing with ephedrine. Although I think ephedrine is worse than Clen because it hits so many receptors. Clen it hits the beta 2 receptor pretty hard. But ephedrine hits that one hard, plus like a whole bunch of other ones. So with ephedrine, I think it's a little more harsh on the system. The mechanism is slightly different than with clenbuterol. It doesn't give you the same amount of anti-catabolic effect because it doesn't nearly open up your airways as much. It kind of just opens your nasal passage a little bit, not the entire airway. So clenbuterol is way better than ephedrine, in my opinion. Clen and caffeine is a good combination, better combination, I think, than Clen and ephedrine. I don't think the aspirin really does much at all, but I take baby aspirin. I think that you can include that anyways. Like, it's not like an ECA is going to be that much different than just an EC stack. For fat burning.
Question about the Clen there. Actually, talking about beta, is it beta cells, beta receptors?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on? I know a guy who used to do this.
Yeah.
I tried myself actually, taking Benadryl with your
Yeah.
Clen to so you take less time off and you resensitize it to it.
I think that's stupid. I don't know. Like there's other issues you could get from taking like Benadryl and stuff, like
Sure.
depending on what's in it. Like if there's like DXM and that kind of shit in there, like you don't want to take that. Like that's just not good for your body at all. It can reduce your ability to have that muscle building hypertrophy response, because when you're taking like if you're taking Clen and then you start taking like Benadryl, for example, you could be reducing the inflammation that you want from the training, and that might not be a good thing. In terms of like refreshing the receptors or whatever the theory is, I think that's bullshit. I think taking time off is a smarter approach, because not only do you need time off like receptor wise, but it's also just harsh on the body. It's very strenuous on the heart. And I think so that you're not getting a constantly increased heart rate throughout your entire prep. That's why you take the breaks. It's not necessarily because the receptors need to be refreshed, but it's the longer you take Clen, the more your resting heart rate just slowly starts to creep up until your resting heart rate's very high. And then you just feel uncomfortable all the time. Taking time off is important for any drug, so Clen's not an exception. I don't think there's any shortcuts.
Thanks, man.
What's your take on GW? I know you're not the biggest fan of it because of the cancer studies, but
I think it works really well. I love taking it, but I won't take it anymore because I don't know. I'm concerned about those issues. Like you said, it wasn't approved for human use, and we still there's barely any research on it. So the research that we have isn't promising. So for me, like there's better options, and it's just one, if anything, because even though I love it, it's one less thing to take, and it's one less thing to buy, and it's one less thing to worry about having a variable that could give me some fucking cancer or something. So that's why. Yeah. But the benefits, if you just look at it like on paper, it's like, it's so good.
Yeah. No, the first time I started taking it, I immediately noticed my cardio was just like, I could go for way longer and didn't even faze me.
Exactly. So there's pros and cons with the SARMs, the whole SARMs thing. That's a whole other conversation, but I think you guys know I'm not a huge fan of SARMs. I don't think any of you guys are taking SARM, so obviously I don't really consider them that important.
I've taken in the past.
What's that?
We've taken MK6.
Yeah, MK is probably the one that I would consider the best. It's not even a SARM; it's a growth hormone secretagogue. But I think it's a really cool drug, and it works well for some people, but it doesn't work well for anyone that has even the slightest bit of blood pressure or water retention issue. It'll just blow you up. You can add you like 15 pounds in a week. It's not good if that's how you respond to it. You might like that response because you're like, "Ooh, I feel fucking big," but that's not good for your body, and it's not going to be muscle.
Yeah.
So,
thoughts on mTOR? Like I know, like John Meadows is like a huge metformin guy, which I know is like super controversial because a lot of guys say like stay away from it for the mTOR issue. His theory is like if you're on anabolics, then that kind of counteracts it and that kind of outweighs it. What are your thoughts on that theory? I know it's probably a different pathway.
That's why I give berberine to most people, because since it's almost just as effective, that means it's not only a better choice, but it's more accessible. Because how am I going to get everybody metformin realistically? Like if I start prescribing metformin to all you guys, how many of you guys can really get it? Maybe like one.
Have a bunch actually trying to get rid of.
Yeah, like one or two of you, and then the rest of you are going to be like, how the fuck do I get this stuff? But if I say get berberine, it's at the store, you just go buy it, and it works just as well.
Where the hell are you guys getting this? I've been going to every goddamn pharmacy, like natural food store. I can't find it at all here.
Get
Berberine?
online.
Amazon.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I've resorted to now. I'm like,
Yeah, even Tudka. Tudka you gotta go to Amazon for.
Yeah. Burberry and Healthy Planet has it. Tudka.
Do you have Vitamin Shop in Canada? Because that's where I get it down here.
Tudka I get from Dragon Pharma because it's cheaper. If you get it like on sale, they have Tudka in their liver formula, and Tudka's expensive as fuck.
Yeah,
so,
just always sold out. Like even their joint support. Yeah. Like what's a good joint support to use other than Dragon Pharma? That's actually
collagen.
Like, collagen?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't recommend glucosamine?
It's shit.
Yeah.
Bone broth?
Glucosamine is shit.
Bone broth? What about bone broth?
Bone broth
never used it.
Bone broth is the one. Yeah, that's what you want. I'll show you the one.
What's wrong with glucosamine though? Isn't that the whole purpose of it?
No, it just
doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah, it's just not proven to do anything.
Oh.
In some studies, it actually made it worse.
Is it better for animals?
What's that?
Is it better for animals? I wonder.
Maybe it's possible. Yeah, this is for human studies.
Yeah, they use it a lot for horse track racing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So perfect to pair with EQ.
Yeah, no, exactly, right?
We're going to talk about EQ in week 4. So if you go on Amazon, there is a bone broth. It's called Bone Broth Concentrate, Premium Beef Bone Broth Concentrate. It says best bone broth, seasoned bone broth concentrate with turmeric and black pepper. So
yeah, so I was gonna say turmeric is what I use mostly.
So this one has turmeric is curcumin or turmeric is like the best thing you can possibly take for anti-inflammation. And then just so that everybody knows that when you use black pepper with turmeric or curcumin, it enhances the absorption by 1,000%. And that's like literally what they put in the studies. That's not even like a made up number. They put 1,000%. So it's like almost stupid or like ignorant for you not to use your curcumin or your turmeric with black pepper, just because it makes it 1,000% better. 1,000%, like how could you not? So you have to.
Why would companies?
Yeah.
Why would companies not have that combination? Like I never see that. It's always just turmeric or cumin. Why do they not add black pepper extract to that?
A lot of them do. It just costs more.
Not a lot of them do though. Not a lot.
I don't see it at all.
Yeah, like NACA, they do, and I use their NACA Pro Curcumin for like 2 years because it's one of the only ones that you buy 90 capsules for $32, and it has curcumin and black pepper. I think the price went up on that now, but I was buying that for like 2 years solid. That stuff.
Because I'm looking at it right now. The turmeric is 3,050 milligrams mg, and it's $16 on Amazon.
For what?
This one right here is black pepper.
For turmeric?
Oh, yeah, there's no black pepper in there.
For black pepper? Well, black pepper it's not expensive. It's just black pepper. But a lot of companies use like a different type of black pepper called bioperine. Jaden, obviously, you know about that. That's like the more absorbable form of black pepper, I suppose.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's in the glycolog here.
Yeah, it's in a lot of ingredients. Or sorry, it's in a lot of supplement formulas.
Yeah. A lot of pre-workouts have it.
And so also it helps absorb other things too. So that's, I don't know if that's 100% proven, but it's,
I'm probably going to add turmeric then to my little vitamin list if that's the case.
Well, if you're going to buy a supplement, you want to buy curcumin, not turmeric.
Yeah.
It comes together, turmeric and curcumin.
So curcumin is the active ingredient from the turmeric powder.
So curcumin. I'm going to look it up right now that I have the computer in front of me.
So if you're just going to go and buy curcumin, get the NACA Pro curcumin, because that's the one I was saying.
Which, sorry?
NACA, NAKA, NACA Pro curcumin. That one's very good. Or you can also buy the best bone broth.
Where do you get it?
Roots one right here. It's pretty good.
I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon too.
NAKA Pro.
It's on Amazon for $24 for 90 capsules. That's insane.
And what do you search up on Amazon?
NACA Platinum Curcumin Organic Turmeric Root.
NAKA?
NAKA, yeah.
Platinum.
Yeah.
Any more?
Oh, I see. I found it. Okay.
Right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah.
9 veggie capsules. Well,
Yeah.
that's cheap.
See, it's got the bioperine as well. It's got 5
Yeah,
milligrams.
black pepper.
So,
and it's made in Canada, so it must be good.
Yeah, so like basically, just in case you didn't know, the turmeric is the original spice that the curcumin comes from. So when you're looking at like here, it says medicinal ingredients, turmeric. Okay, it's giving you 450 milligrams of that turmeric, which contains 95% curcuminoids. So you want to make sure obviously you're getting the curcumin as high as possible, because that's the whole point of using the turmeric in the first place.
Anyway, you just take one of those a day and that's it?
I take one in the morning and one at night. If I have joint pains, I'll take like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay.
I usually buy like 4 or 5 bottles of this because like look at that price.
Yeah, that's like the probiotic. Weber's Natural, 50 billion probiotic. Sometimes goes on for like $18-20 for a month's worth.
Yeah, just make sure you let them know that I sent you so I get the kickback on that.
On Amazon?
Just kidding.
Do you guys take any specific supplements for different inflammation or like irritations in different joints?
DECA.
Like,
Not DECA. No, we can talk about
that was way too long.
we can talk about BPC 157 and TB 500 if you want.
Sure, yeah. Like for me, like I struggle a lot with patellofemoral syndrome, so I always get pretty bad knees. I think you have that too, to an extent, right, Robin?
I don't have. No, I do not have that.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I've seen you do all those different squatting, things, and just apparently just soft, shitty knees, right?
Yeah, no, like knee problems and stuff. Like honestly, like if it's like very like localized in one spot, like I did have some tendinopathy on my my right patellar tendon, and so I used BPC 157 because it was in one very specific spot and that felt like a shin splint. Yeah. So I used it right on that specific area, injected straight in, and I did that for about 10 days. I did 2 cycles of 10 days of BPC 157 straight into that area that it was inflamed, and it pretty much took it away. I would say 100%.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like right now I'm 100% because right now we're training 5-plate deadlift. We did what do we do? 6.5 plate leg press, like all that stuff. No pain. I don't even feel it. But obviously we're training very safe and cautiously. So I'm not just going to be like, oh, I don't feel pain, let me just go fucking squat 8 plates. We still have to take our time with it. But I'm just saying, like, now after taking it 2 cycles of the BPC 157, it's like night and day, because before I couldn't squat 2 plates without pain.
Gotcha. And are you guys taping your knees too, or using knee sleeves to kind of pull your patella over?
I don't use any of that, but Nick uses knee sleeves.
I use knee sleeves. I got some knee problems, and I have those peptides on the way in the mail.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I never train quads anyways without knee sleeves. I'll train hamstrings without them.
Yeah.
So
sure, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Are you using them on leg extensions too? Because like for me, like I'll warm up my legs with like leg extensions and whatnot. I don't go crazy heavy when I get going, but then I usually slap my sleeves on before I really get moving for like my major compounds.
I got to do, if I do leg extensions, it's got to be at the beginning.
Yeah.
At the end of a workout, my knees are way too exhausted by then.
Yeah.
But Robin and I, we don't do much of them because they're not like much of a mass builder.
No.
They're good for warming up and for getting like good connection with your quads.
Yeah.
What do you think, Robin?
I don't even bother with leg extensions. If I have any issues with my knees, I stay away from them completely, because I think a lot of the times they're the reason why I have issues with my knees.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't use them as a warm up or anything. We don't even do them.
No.
Like sometimes we do. I don't think you can do them sometimes. Like Nick said, they're not a bread and butter movement. They're not going to build mass. Unless you're doing them with Ben Picalsi, they're not super intense either. Or like if you're doing like 50 reppers, I like that. It blows up the quads a bit. It's like things like that, but never should it be like a staple. And guys with the best legs in the world, even if they've used leg extensions a lot, like you can see Ben Picalsi, like he did a ton of leg extensions, but also look at his legs. Like he was going to build mass on his legs, whether he was doing leg extensions, lunges, squats. It doesn't even fucking deadlifts. He built his legs with deadlifts. So you have to look at it like that too. Like, what's going to work best for you. If you love leg extensions because your quads just get so full and, just gives you like crazy burn, like all those are probably good reasons for you to keep doing leg extensions. No knee pain. But like if you're just like struggling to get in there with the leg extensions, you don't really feel it, and then when you go heavy, you kind of like it doesn't feel right, or one leg works more than the other. There's so many other reasons there not to use it. So there's better choices for sure. But and even though this is a bit off topic, I think that starting off your workouts with things that like what Benoit has been doing with us, where you're starting with activation, which is still a compound movement, and it'll be like a one-legged pistol squat negative onto a box, and a one-legged pistol squat up off a box with sometimes with assistance, like just having like a person or like use like a broomstick, and just using one leg at a time, really activate your hamstrings, your quads, your glutes with a single leg, and basically building the stability on one leg. So when you go and you use 2 legs, you're twice as strong, twice as stable, and less likely to get injured as well. Now, TB500, we'll wrap this up, but TB500 is a really good one for if you have kind of like a global inflammation syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. Like if you've got if your neck's hurting and your shoulders are hurting and you kind of got a little tweak on your elbow and your knees are kind of, it's like, okay, like kind of everything is happening here. So that would be where it would be almost impossible to inject all those spots with BPC 157. You have to go with TB 500 in that case. So if it's 1 or 2 injuries max, you go with BPC 157. If it's everywhere, more than 2 spots where you're inflamed and have pain, then you start off with TB 500. All right, guys, do you have any other questions?
That's all.
All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate everybody. It was really cool. I'm really happy that more people came this week. So this is great. And like I told a few of you guys that came last time, if you guys, any of you have any suggestions for future topics, I'm taking suggestions, guys. Like I've got the next 2 weeks booked because you guys gave me suggestions. So it's whatever you guys want. It's all for you guys. It's fun for me to do this. So let's do more, and let's get some good suggestions and some really good topics that we're all interested about.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Take care.
See you guys.